Hello there, guys, and welcome to my crack book. And this goes out to my Twitter, and I think it gets shared by Amber into my office and then is uploaded to my YouTube account, and then it's available for me to do all the transcribes for putting together my book. Anyway, I'm having a bit of a dilemma, and Amber's here, so Amber at least is going to help me. So I've had a blessing tonight, and I came home from, well, actually, we went out to the shop quickly to get some milk, and we jumped in the car. And as we went out, I was like, oh, I don't believe it. Look what sat next to me. Dun, 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 dun. And also, I've got drawers sat on the floor right now. So anyway, I'm accumulating stuff, but it's because I really need an office, and I have been so privileged all my life, pretty much all my life, from the age of 11, and even before then, going to my mum's. I've always worked to an office space. I've always worked very what's called ergonomics. So ergonomics means if you're right-handed, then your phone will be on your right side, because if it's on your left side, you waste time by crossing over, basically. So I've always been very privileged, even when I raised Liam and Daniel, to have an office. So when I went to university, Liam and Daniel had bunk beds in their bedroom, and I'd converted the really small room because it just was too small to put even a single bed for one of the boys. So it was better to just give them the bigger room, and I took the second room that was just big enough for, you know, a double bed and a couple of side units, and they had the big room. So when I went to university, I was able to have the office space, and there was already an office in there. So anyway, I'm in a one-bedroom flat, as people know, and I've been given my pay your bill by the 4th of October or you will be served. And the problem with Universal Credits is Universal Credits is paid every month, and housing is applied every 2 weeks. This means every 6 weeks you are kicked off with a letter that you are in arrears, and it's right fucker, right? And I said to housing, I'm waving my legs and stuff, so if I'm bouncing, for those who know me, the diagnosis that I live under is autism. So for those who know that I'm in the dark at the moment, yes, I do need to put light bulbs in, but if I had my own way, and if this was my home to live in and was ideal for the family, then I would take the time to put dimmer switches in and things like that, because somebody like me can't cope with, every time I stand in a shop to look at light bulbs, I have to try to remember which are the pushy in ones, which are the screw top ones. Then I don't want to overwhelm myself because of the price, and then I try to work out the price, and then I can be stood there for ages and I'm like a rabbit caught in headlights because I can't work out or fathom or make a decision. And when I can't make a decision, I get really wah. So anyway, I can't make a decision right now, and I've got this fuck off size. Oh, hang on. Which one is it? This is the problem with being in a one bed. I wake the kids up when I'm talking. So I couldn't sit in here and chat to people properly because the kids are literally just in the room there. It's not like they're upstairs or anything, do you know what I mean? So anyway, the good news is this means the class action can move forward, because it's not that this stuff can't be done, it's that you're basically waiting for me to have the equipment, tools, resources, time, and team, pretty much. And with that, it's a piece of fucking piss what we need to achieve. And it's been really lovely these last couple of weeks having people around me who really appreciate my tools, skills, knowledge, understanding, and it might be Elijah, so I'm going to have to say, well, just come and sit with me for a bit and let him come out. I don't need to walk into the unit though. He might settle himself. So for those who know me, hello. And the journey continues, the saga continues, the dramas continue, the unfolding of the whole Success Resources platform unfolds. I can't believe I'm 2 months. I'm 2 months behind on the juicy stuff going on the Success Resources platform. So if you don't know what Success Resources is, please Google and have a look at all the speakers that have been on the platform for the last 30 years. Just let me just check which one it is. It's a quick one. 2 seconds. Two ticks. Had the bathroom light on as well, and it annoys him because they like to actually sleep in the dark. And it's really doing my nut in having to get these cheap nappies, because all the way around here it's all student village, so the local co-ops and shops don't have like baby and family stuff, and it's really fucking annoying. So anyway, relax. So let me show you what I'm starting already. So my mountain of clothes has made its way back in the living room. It did get sorted into everybody's piles and ages. It has found its way back in its pile, but is now on top of a sofa bed. So the boys, now, if I was living in a house with an office and a conservatory and my kids and everything and had stability, I'd have done this like a piece of piss. But the funny thing about me doing it this way is I have had an understanding of the services from a whole different point of view. A very interesting point of view. Because if anybody knows and has followed my journey from either, I don't know, I've been in the media my whole life. If you've been with me since 2010, so October 2010, what date are we on today? We're on the 23rd of September today. It is the first day of fall, so it is the first day of the divide of those who will receive their blessings and those who will receive their curses. So to those who are going to fall into the pits of fucking hell right now, namaste, blessings to you, and I hope you find your way back very soon. Another 10 years, I'm afraid. It's a 10-year vineyard. It's how everything works, whether you understand the natural laws of the universe or not. They understand you. And we are in one of the most pinnacle transformations. Change is happening, whether people like it or not. We are going through a big change, and one thing that's quite interesting with dealing with Graham, and I love Graham to bits, but dealing with Graham is they're trying to get him, this is all the service providers, so he has like a key worker, a support worker, and all these people around him for being evicted from his property. And as people will know, I'm going to be talking about the snooker a lot. No, I have no interest in the snooker whatsoever. No, it's not my area of expertise. No, it's not my game. I don't even know which ball you pop, and I can't remember what the song is. So, Amber, you have my permission to stand on your chair and Google on YouTube. Snooky, Loopy, Lutz are we, him and them are me. We show you what we can do with a load of balls and a snooker cue. And then I can't remember what colour you pot them in. I need to know this colour very quickly as I'm about to release a video, not yet, but on the 3rd and 4th and 5th of October, I am going to be down at a property clearing out all of Graham and his missus's stuff. Well, most of hers has gone to the council now. Luckily, the council refused to touch his stuff because they are no longer dealing with Graham. Graham is being held in the system currently by me. Graham should have been evicted and put on the streets the day of Donald Trump. It was here in Portsmouth. Graham was very drunk, very angry, and had police, council, and everybody all congregating and meeting outside. His partner was taken away from him and placed in a B&B away from Graham. And they've been together 27 years. They have never spent a day apart. And they search for each other every day. Okay, now I have a car, we know where they are. We've now got it to the point that they're allowed to speak to each other on the phone. We've got it to the point that the Roberts Centre still consider him as mad because he stinks. He hasn't bathed or washed for... I need to ask him that question tomorrow. When was the last time he had a bath or a shower, Graham? Even his friends can't tolerate him. Graham's mindset is that his audience love the craziness of his films. I can share the videos that are currently out. There are 14 videos out through the 1984 to 1994, I think it is. So there are already 14 videos out. The 2 videos that aren't going viral are the 2 videos of the producers and all of the people behind basically doing coke and drinking and living a very debauchery life. I currently have the video. Quite a lot of the BBC people who cross over between all of the different people who were involved with Savile in the BBC, and then who that offsprang, which also connects to a few other things that are going over. I haven't quite connected the dots fully, and the reason that I haven't quite connected the dots fully is because I haven't had a proper chance to timeline the fact that the desk is here. Let me show you my desk. Dun, 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 dun. So, welcome to my new desk. Underneath the mirror, in fact, I have it here. Where is it? I did have it here. Hang on. One day I'm going to know where everything is. Oh. Nah, but guess what I've just found? His first thing, for one thing, to go on desk, after they took my children, they took my bank account off me and froze all my assets too. So, don't tell me I ain't the director of Challenge Britain, you bastards. Oh, good old checkbook. The only evidence I have left, literally. Oh, I have a few Barclays statements. Literally, when I timeline this properly, and what I'm really looking forward to, shall I show you my little? Actually, I've got my drawers here. Look how fucking solid this is. Oh my goodness, seriously. Look at my arm. I'm not looking forward to seeing my leg. I don't know if you can see my arm. There's going to be a massive bruise here tomorrow. Literally, I fell over carrying a fucking desk upstairs. And how I carried this, I've like danced with it the whole way to sort of drag it across the floor. So I don't know if I've damaged it in any way, shape or form, but it's solid. And look at how much paperwork I'm going to be able to get in these. This, my dears, is going to have all of your names, all of your files, all of your cases, literally running from year. So I'm going to hopefully have every document. I have 4 of these motherfuckers. 4. But now I'll have this unit and I've got to work out where to put it. So let's hope you're ready. So today is the first day of autumn. So I'm hoping not many of you are going to feel like going out at all. And then we're going to go into winter. And then next year we're going to come out into spring. Here in the UK I'm talking about. And all the way around the world, because you cannot take away the natural science of religion, basically. So you can't take away Mother Earth's way of doing things. You can't take away seed watering, gestation period. You can't take away the natural laws of the universe. You can't take away the way karma works. You can't take away the way, if you want to go deep with me, then you can't take away what's called perpetual transmutation, which is basically energy. Energy is everything exists in energy. Everything from my little spacky fingers going on here to, to everything is an atom. Everything. That cupboard that I've just moved in here is, let's hope it's not got wood lice or I'm going to be fucking fuming. I shall double check it just in case that's why they moved it out. It's usually because somebody's actually, I'm encouraging a lot of people to clear out. It's quite interesting. But anyway, I've now been blessed with a filing system. So I have all the paperwork that I took over to the Children's Centre that now I can put into nice little things. I've even been blessed in the drawer with a star. There was 2 little diamonds. We were laughing because Graham was in here when I brought it up, because he sat in here like while the kids were down. Sober, actually, believe it or not. He's been so well. He's been mellow the last couple of days. So yes, there was a pink star and some white stickers, and I have in the cupboard all of the little things. So literally all of that is now going to be put from 1978. So this is me. So from 1978 all the way through to the current day, in every piece of paperwork, certificate, file, everything that I have. Because as you know, I am trying to complete my book in time for the anniversary of the day that Aaron and Faith were taken, which is the 13th of December. I like to try to hit these dates because it's important for me to do something with my grief that is constructive rather than destructive. I'm not a drinker, and I certainly don't want to become an alcoholic. I'm not a drug taker. People know that I'm allowed to use cannabis on and off. Well, I'm allowed to use cannabis whenever I like. Everybody's allowed to use cannabis that hasn't got THC and it's not illegal. Do you know what I mean? So, but I won a precedent case in 2003 for 27 cannabis plants, and I won and beat in a high court to be able to use cannabis for having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and you can even search it. In fact, you can search pot farm found in back bedroom in Leyland, and it will say lady 23 or 24 at the time, and it'll be Railway Street, so you can Google that, and that is also in the media. That is me. So yes, 18 months of my time in Preston Crown Court for the use of cannabis. So I wouldn't even go there on debating with me the difference between CBTs and THCs and oils and cannabis and things. I've had the greatest teachers involved in a massive big court case, and had one of the biggest experts who just happened to be my consultant's wife, who came into court to talk about cannabis pain relief. So my case was a precedent case, which funny enough doesn't get digged out and used as much as it potentially could do. And yeah, I walked from the courts with an absolute discharge with 27 cannabis plants back in 2003 or 4. So yeah, so I'm not a drug user. I don't touch drugs. I would like to do ayahuasca in a safe environment. I would like to go more into the Eastern philosophies, and I would like to go more into herbs and natural things. I do use things like aloe vera already. I do use wheatgrass. I do use spirulina. I don't use them as consistently as I should do, and this is something that I'm preparing for now. So literally, this is going to give me a massive amount of headspace, because literally I'll carry everything around with me from day dot, the day that I was born, to history, to your cases, to my cases, to, you know, what's going on with this girl with this video, asking myself questions. Is it a setup by the parents to get her off an adoption order? Is it a genuine? If it was genuine, then why is there no urgency? Why is this just an awareness? And is this why I never got anywhere with my case? Because people were just sharing it out as an awareness and not actually going, this is a mother going through, you know, trauma and pain right here, right now. And if this girl's story is real, then this girl is going through severe trauma right here, right now, in this, probably curled up in a ball, cowering and crying without anybody really knowing that that's how she's feeling. And please don't think that I haven't spent a lot of time on this journey, sitting on my bathroom floor in the dark, crying my fucking eyes out in a sobbing, silent cry. You know, you learn to master a complete silent cry so people can't hear you. Especially when my kids were taken, you could hear me across the farm. The farm 3 doors down said, you know, that every night around 3 o'clock at night, you could hear me wake up howling, you know, with where my kids are. And it's a really horrible feeling to live with. It's like having an elastic band in your gut. I can only talk from a mother's point of view. I can't talk from a father's point of view, because it's a totally different creation. To knit a child in your womb and to create your child and sit there, you know, and only really mothers will know this, when your baby kicks, when you're laying in a bath, and how your belly wobbles, and what it feels like to get elbowed in the rib, and all these little things that are really difficult to talk about. And even now I want to well up, because, you know, the judge said to me in court, why do you not talk about your kids? Why can you not talk about your kids? And I said, it's not that I can't talk about my kids, it's that if I talk about my kids, I'll kill you. Because the level of emotion and anger that I have behind me for what you have done to, well, not you personally, but to, I say this a lot to people at the moment. I deal with so many people, I have to say, not you personally, but you work for the system. I know you're not personally, you know, the person who did this to me and my kids, but what annoys me about this system is it teaches victimology, right? And I understand victimology inside out. Before I even did my degree in psychology, I did criminology, and my life was in prison systems because of my Uncle Sam. So, and don't forget, Michael Mansfield was my uncle's barrister, so he was back and forth to the home here in White Hill, just up the road here, because he was Sam's barrister. And I spent a lot of time with Michael Mansfield as a kid. Like, I was the little kid growing up, you know. So yeah, I was 17 when Sam got out of prison. So he spent 9 years. So go back 9 years, and I was about 8, 9. I'm not sure on the math. 7, 8, 9. I was about 7 or 8 or 9 when Sam went in prison. So I grew up with the press clicking, fucking, and going mental about board and baseball bat murder and the front pages of the paper, and going to the prisons every other weekend with my nan, and driving down to Dover and driving around the country when he was moved over, and having to deal with all of the high security because he was considered a murderer, and we didn't really have many murderers here in the UK, and you know, it wasn't really like that. We were quite a, I don't really know what the word is, but subsidian, you know, quite British upper thing, and for a murder to go on, you know, it was, you know, the ball, and certainly a big famous innocent murder as well. So he actually was innocent, and he spent 9 years in prison. And Michael Mansfield got him out on his third appeal, which was 9 years later. That's how long the court system worked. I always said to myself, at the moment this happened to me, I said to myself, look, if my nan can do 9 years standing by Sam, I can go longer. I can go until the day I see my kids again. If my nan can do 9 years, I can go longer. It's fine. I can do this. And the more I kept speaking to people, they were all going over 9 years, and it was like, what do you mean you haven't seen your kids? Like, craziness, like, seriously. I'll never forget what David Jenkins said to me. Like, that was just mental. To come from a father's point of view for a moment, within the family courts, like, there's not many women that will put a father on a birth certificate, and I find this really strange. There's not a lot of women that will put men on a tenancy, and I find this really strange. In the situation that I'm currently in now, I seem to understand why they do this, and there's not a lot of men that take responsibility for the rent, mortgage, home, land, providing, protecting. And I don't just mean for the children, but I mean for the mother, because if the mother's time and attention is on the child, then how does she fund and provide her clothing, her own life, her own careers, you know, her own passions, her own interests, if she's at home with the children? And you don't have one of them sort of fathers that aids and enables for mum to be Kelly or whatever mum's name is, and mum doesn't allow for dad, or whatever dad's name is, Dean or whatever dad's name is, to be their own person, to do their own things. Like, to create a painting can take hours, to create a masterpiece can take months, years, to write a book can take anyone from days, weeks, months. It depends. You know, I could throw loads of ebooks out, and I am going to, after I've done this one book. I want to get this one book out first, and then literally I will do lots and lots of ebooks on different things, like, you know, how I overcome child sexual abuse for a start. I don't consider myself a victim at all. I don't consider myself a victim of what happened to me at all. I still haven't pinpointed the actual age that the molestation started, because I remember the penetration a lot more than I remember the sort of lead up and the grooming and stuff like that, because obviously as the age that I did it was quite significant. Remember the gang rape when I was 11. That's like, yay. That's not very different, not very easy to ever forget. And I don't think I will ever forget everything down to, you know, where the sun was in the morning to where the moon was at night, to everything that led up, every single memory along that way. I can even remember, you know, talking to the horse, sitting at the swimming pool, everything. Like, I've gone over it a million and zillion times, because of course I've had to, you know, talk to so many people about all these different incidences and things like that. And I wasn't taking them very seriously when I was a kid. And I'll never forget this one question I was asked when I was a kid. And on this, for people who haven't overcome their child sexual abuse, if that's what you want to call it, that's what they label it clinically. What you choose to call it is up to you. They label it child abuse. Just remember this, they label it that. So if you choose to live by the I am a child abuse victim of sexual abuse or whatever, then that's completely up to you, but it will keep you in a very horrible place for a very long time. And it will keep manifesting some really nasty situations around you. So you have to overcome these traumas. You have to overcome them. One of my psychological reports said that Kelly needs somebody to go through the pain barrier with her, and that she can't quite go over the pain barrier. And one of the difficulties of going through a pain barrier is it's really difficult as a mother to take time out to cry. You've either got to wait for the kids to go to bed at night and just go boom, or you know, everybody says you can't be real in front of your kids. Like, don't talk to your kids about money, don't talk to your kids about your emotions, don't talk to your kids about, you know, the arguments going on between mum and dad, don't talk about this. And it can actually cause trauma to children that is not actually what you think it is. You know, they can hear the arguments and the stuff, and they can make up their own concepts based on the alignment to the education they're getting from the world out there, which most parents don't even know what our kids know anymore. I panic every time my kids are around me because I don't want someone to pollute my kids' minds with some bullshit belief system. Like around here, you know, even somebody said to me the other day, said to my son, you know, come on, big boys don't cry. I went, whoa, don't you dare say that to my son. Big boys do cry, mate. You freaking let you let it out, mate. You want to cry, you let it out. It's fine. You know, and we're dealing with a really big generation crossover of dealing with historic and current matters where people are very different with how they deal with their emotions. And one of the challenges that I'm dealing with that's really difficult, which is holding us back and stuff like that, and it's also costing us a lot of lives. And we lost Ryan recently, and I feel directly 100% responsible for losing Ryan. I come in just in time with Ryan, and I know that Ryan battles with suicidal thoughts and depression and things like that. And I shut down on my computer that day. I just couldn't take the level of overload, and I just missed him. Like literally, I just missed like him just sort of going down, and it was too late. So, and I've been doing this for a lot longer than sitting online doing this. I was a mentor at the university at Lancashire, at the University of Central Lancashire, where I mentored children, adults, college, university students who, for the first time ever, were legally leaving the family home and going off to university. And that meant that they were actually, for the first time ever, leaving an abusive situation. Some people, some children, even like myself, some children for years will plan their exit out of their families. And unfortunately, not everybody likes or can tolerate or deal with their own family members. And that's really sad, and that's really upsetting, because we were born into our families for a reason. And I think society has turned the UK very soft when it comes to discipline, when it comes to parents and discipline with their kids, when it comes to the boundaries of taking photographs at sport events, things like this. We've become so, what's the word? We've become, I don't know, what do you think we, the British people, have become, if you look at us as a whole planet? I mean, we're certainly multi-diverse now. We're 100% a diverse country. We are the Union Jack, per se, in terms of union. We 100% here on the UK have achieved what their agenda was. So back then their agenda was to create, you know, an island that was of all nationalities, all breeds, all things. They've 100% pretty much done that. I would say here in the UK, we would not be far off saying that this island contains probably every nationality, every breed of human being on here. I wouldn't go as far as saying that it would certainly be a 99.9%, but that we don't have it in terms of animals. but I would 100% say that we have it in terms of human, of human country people. We could have a representation for each country here. I do believe we could do that. It's a very unique country because we no longer have any core values, beliefs, and main infrastructures here in the UK. We've lived under an EU laws for so long now. Like, for us, it's not been normal. Do you know what I mean? Our generation has been completely normal. I'm 41, so for my generation, it's been completely normal. And I don't think people like me and my generation will really remember, like, even Maggie's time here. It would have been our school years, and other than getting, well, I wasn't cane year, so Mr. Bamford used to like to let me know what he used to be able to do with the cane, and if I was there, and I think that was sort of enough to let me sort of stay slightly on the straight and narrow, that there was the potential that it could have happened, and I'm quite lucky that I get away with what I get away with. So I felt quite privileged and honoured that we had escaped that era. So it's a really, really, really difficult one, because who does the trophy go to if we have a world of really good people? Do you know what I mean? Who does the trophy go to if, you know, everybody in a classroom does well? You know, it's the teacher, isn't it? So if you've got a pupil of so many children to put through the education system, and they've got to come out the other side, then ultimately it's up to the teachers to do that. But if parents are bringing children into the world, then they're bringing children into the world to be responsible for their kids. And in order to be responsible for your kids, you're taking responsibility by law, by the birth certificate law, for their shelter, their food, and basically to just protect them. That's all the government is asking you to do, to protect them from harm, to protect them from whatever. It's not asking anything else. There's no written manifesto that says I, Kelly Cottam, or go back to my maiden name, I, Kelly Hill, go back for actually my dad's, which is I, Kelly Avis, or even go back to the fact that my grandfather's actual name is Pierce, I, Kelly Pierce. As you all know me as Kelly Cottam. Cottam is my second husband's married name, and is the name of my two older children, but is not the name of my children or my partner, or whatever he may be. He's in another country at the moment, I'm not sure. I know he said he's got to go to Germany, so haven't got a clue. Yeah, I, Kelly Cottam, give birth to this child, Liam Daniel Aaron Faith, and I will promise to love, care. There's no commitment. Having a child with somebody doesn't mean anything anymore in the way that it used to either. Being in a relationship with somebody doesn't mean anything in the way that it used to. It's very, very, very rare in this country, here in the UK, to find the 60th wedding anniversary with children that are all considered happy, healthy, and thriving. If you have been through the care system, then you will understand these words: happy, healthy, and thriving. All the courts, all the social workers, all the CAF officers, and all the support workers, they just want your children to be happy, healthy, and thriving. However, government statistics for foster care show that to be very, very, very different. In fact, once you sever the bond between a mother and father, you take away any happiness and joy. The devil's work. So anyway, it's time to restore that. And one of the things that I'm aiming to achieve, but it's really, really difficult to do because it's going to mean DNA testing. Everybody is going to uproar in conspiracy theory, going, this organization or this company or that person is storing blah, 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 for the purpose of blah, 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 blah. The only way we can prove who is related to who is through DNA. So the only way we can do this is through saliva tests, blood tests, samples, stuff like that. Now, I can use organisations and companies that are already doing this, but I've got concerns with this, because if I ask you guys to come along and have your blood taken, and then it's going to a company, I can't guarantee or tell you where that's going. And that concerns me. And I can't be associated or involved in the alignment of the intentions of other people. And when you're building such a business that I have, and I have a very unique business model, which is why I get a lot of trolling, a lot of issues and a lot of things, and I deal with a lot of sustainable living. I have a friend in Liverpool who is very high up from the MI5, who basically built a machine, and this machine basically produced natural stuff. Now, if anybody understands what's going on in this world right now, there is a big battle right now between not good and evil, but caring and compassion and greed and money. If I said to you right now, there is no need for homelessness whatsoever here in the UK, no need at all. We have enough empty spaces to put people in. What we have here is a monopoly game of property. Private sector, government sector, or social sector. Private, social. It's just, that's the names that's used. So here in the UK, it's social housing. It used to be called council housing. It's social housing. Private landlords, and then obviously mortgage and owners. Now, the challenge you've got with here is a mortgage is 25 years. And at the end of the day, we are born and we die. We're born, we grow up, we collect things, we die, we go in a box, and everything that we own goes back in the game. Do you know what I mean? So it's better to rent a life, rent experiences here, and understand what to invest in. And unfortunately, if you went through comprehensive school, you would have only been taught units, tens, hundreds and thousands. That's it. That's all you would have been taught. So in your main, and I went to a comprehensive too, however, I got expelled. So as we human beings grow up, the first 5 years is so fundamental. And the first 5 years is where we become crystallized and solid and start building our own concepts of the world and what we see. So for the first sort of few months as you're born, you take so much time to actually open your eyes to even actually be able to see what is around you. And even in school, you'll be taught 5 senses: touch, taste, feel, blah, 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 blah. There is a comprehensive education and a private education for a reason. In the UK, these are of 2 different standards. One is state, one is paid. It is no different than going to the family courts. You will be on legal aid, the state way, or you will pay. Even payers are saying it just drains into the system. Who gets a better education? Well, of course, comprehensive. Of course, immediately, you could actually say, and it's funny that I just said comprehensive there, but it's funny that you should 2 seconds, because I'm just getting an upload for a minute. The reason that apparently I just said comprehensive is because the comprehensive gets a very different education, in the fact that they get education from grassroots to a point. What I'm being told is the problem is people from private are only getting from top to bottom, middle. Here lays the gap in the middle, and this is where the big divide is about to come, because the working class came through from people who became self-employed. So, and now we have another divide in. Before, it used to be the working class, so people who went to work for people. Then it was like your city bankers, your doodah, the people that they went to work for. Then obviously it was the lords who sat there taking in the money to feed to the king and queen. So you'd have to understand your history. So just because we've got phones and nice things and stuff, this whole monarchy system still exists and goes on around us. We are in the most pinnacle time ever here in history, that people are going to write books on this for years. There'll be documentaries on this time. There'll be everything in 30, 40, 50 years. You know, people are going to be going, wow, like they were weak. Like that generation of people that existed at that time, they were weak. There was no revolutionaries. There was no great thinkers. There was no, innovators. There were, Great Britain had nothing. Great Britain had nothing. Like we've already, like, it's really difficult. Go back to colour, creed, and race. You know, do we, the white man, own Great Britain? No, we don't. You know, at the end of the day, the planet is created by the creator itself. Whatever, whether it's a sphere, a circle, an oblong, a flat, whatever. Mother Nature runs with or without us. Like trees will grow without us. We don't need to be going and planting loads of trees. The only reason that we, the human beings, need to plant trees is because we've got a guilty conscience that we've gone and knocked down, 1,000 land forestries so we can build sky-rise flats and apartment blocks and cafes and bingo halls and casinos, or car parks, and made shitloads of money. Do you know what I mean? There are 7 deadly sins for a reason. The Bible gave us every footprint that we needed, really, on how to safeguard and navigate ourselves through the world. Jesus came to turn the table temples over. He didn't come to say I am and be nailed against the cross. He was nailed on the cross. He came to turn over the table temples. He came to turn over the people who sit there counting their money, raping and pillaging people and taking their kids and their land and their good earned money which was created by the Knights Templars. The Knights Templars were the first people to create a bank account. People really need to get their history right. And I'm really looking forward to this real great, amazing opportunity that I've got now to start really getting out my head, really start cross-referencing, and now bringing in other people's stuff and other people's things and putting this together in quite a really cool way. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it properly from within here, because it means a lot of blue tack and seeing things very visually. But what I am looking forward to now is this little baby right now is literally going to go from my first ever birth certificate. I have 3 birth certificates. So my first ever birth certificate, then all the way through, and then it's literally going to go each year: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, all the way through. And then I'm going to literally, within each of them files, include everything that I have. So if it's my medical notes, put it in. If it's a social work file, put it in. If it's a certificate that I got from school, put it in. If it's photographs that I have, put it in. if it's anything that I have, put it in. Any keepsakes that I've kept from anything, put it in. To just give me a proper opportunity to sit down and just access all my memories. The problem with trauma is trauma will keep you replaying all the negative memories and it will block out all the positive. And especially if you wake up and say, it's a shit day, then your brain will set up for everything to be a shit day. So I want to restore balance to all my memories and bring in all the good and the bad. And it's also very difficult for people who've had trauma to experience good memories, because when you always expect something bad to happen, you will block all your blessings. So to those of you who have yet to receive your blessings, it may just be because you're blocking it, not because they're not there for you. Before I go, I've got 10 minutes left of my hour. The most important Shrakna to realign is your root Shrakna. I came to get to the core of Great Britain. The world has Shraknas in exactly the same way that us human beings have Shraknas. So we have Shraknas that run all the way through. I don't talk about all this sort of stuff because the reason I don't talk about all this stuff is because there's a real crossover between all the spiritual lines and all the different dimensions. And I'm very privileged and very humbled and very honoured to be able to, to be able to create with many of these dynamics. How? One day I may understand when I go back and sit with my Heavenly Father. Unless I fuck up too much, because we all have free will here on this planet. And even I make bad decisions, and we all make bad decisions. I've made some really bad decisions. However, I don't think that the decision was wrong. I think that my calculating and understanding of how people would react to such quick change was my biggest problem. When it's taken so many years to prove to people that there's something wrong with you, it can be very difficult to then overcome that. It's also very difficult because sometimes people want to tell you there's something wrong with you and you're not willing to accept there's currently. If I had a conversation with Graham, Graham will tell you he's not an alcoholic. Graham is an alcoholic. Graham will never accept that he's an alcoholic. He's a filmmaker. He's a filmmaker who's now run out of money, crashed his life. Assets are tied up. Inheritance is worth millions and is tied up. All his life is now going to roll out to either being a man out on the streets, like many men like him who are out on the streets. The system doesn't care about you. It never will. It's a computer program. You are a sticky name label. When my filing cabinet starts filling up, you will just be a number. I won't know who you are. I won't know anything about you. You will just be a number to me as well. The more I meet you, the more we build rapport, relationship, the more it's easier to care. I care and do what I do because the pain that I felt as I fell to the wall in the flat that I was living at when Aaron and Faith were taken. And I knew what system I got caught up in. And I knew that this was going to be mental. I couldn't bear to think that my children had gone through even 1% of the pain and confusion that I was feeling, and I know my children were hiding under the tables because they blamed me for it. The abuse was so traumatic at home, they were hiding under tables. Aaron was hiding under tables because he was in with an overweight, fat bastard who looked like a fucking giant with hair everywhere, that was just a horrible, 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 horrible man, and taken away from his mother and his brothers who love him dearly, and Faith. My journey with Aaron and Faith is not over. In fact, the start of bringing Aaron and Faith home has just begun. So I was born here in Portsmouth. I wasn't raised here in Portsmouth. However, I think I'm about to put some roots down in Portsmouth. And the reason that I'm about to do that is I'm not leaving here until this paperwork is filed over into that court. Now, I am not willing to put my paperwork in and have people tell me when I have to have paperwork in by. This is all being done in one go. There is no skeleton argument. This is flesh and fucking bones and blood, mate. This is the full blown body of Kelly Cotton going into the court. Sorry. Kelly Hill, Kelly Avis Forrester, Kelly Wilkinson, Kelly Cotton, and whatever else do you want to fucking call me. And yeah, I hope from this that I can access every piece of paperwork that is out there on me and have the whole fucking lot burn and be set free of this whole system, because I am sick and tired of going to the hospital and having somebody's notes coming up that says something completely different to what I'm saying, and people question me. Going to the doctors, even now it says that CP, you know, I go in there with my children and they treat me like somebody on CP, and I'm not even on CP. I haven't been on CP for, you know, a long time, and even that was false. So I have every right to go over to that court and get justice for me and my family, and it's the way our world works right now. And I'm either going to go into court and completely fucking explode this system inside and out anyway, because I'm not just taking my case in, I'm taking everything that I have ever learned, been told, who said what, who did what, who helped, who hindered, who's who, because I'm in a situation where I can't tell who's being persecuted because people just don't understand, who is being persecuted because they invested in green production of this company. And if you ever notice in Parliament, we have Labour, Conservative, Liberal, but you don't ever really see the Green Party sitting up there. Yeah, the Green Party do a lot of stuff. Now, I'm not Green Party, but I am Green Party, but I'm not Green Party, but I run with Green Party. I run with the Liberals, and I know the Liberals. I have lots of people who do good Labour and very working class Labour, and you know, I've got a lot of people who are very conservative and like their red wine and stuff like that. So I've got lefts and rights and you know, straight, gay, trans, whatever, black, white, pink, purple, Chinese, old, young, babies, new, old. I don't judge people in that way. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm here to safeguard myself and protect myself and maybe be aware of some situations, but you can't even work it out sometimes. So it's really difficult. So anyway, I've got fuck knows idea where I'm going to put this. It's either down there, but it blocks that, and I might have to move that over, but it could work, or it's there, which gives a bit of a divide from the sofa bed. So if I do choose to sit up and write, and Dean is here and he's on the sofa bed, or I've got the kids staying over, or the boys are just asleep, then at least I have this in the way from my little lamp, so I can have a little lamp on my table and it blocks sleeping on the bed. So I'm going to try that first and see how that goes. But I've got to get this right, because the moment I move all of that into there, so yeah, let the fun begin. Isn't it really amazing when you start to actually see a seed starting to come together? And just that most people lose faith at this point, but just see it break through. And isn't it even better when, you know, it's like growing your own veg and knowing that you can actually go out into your garden and pick an apple off the tree and have a beautiful apple. You've got to be careful where the soil comes from. So while I'm picking the team now and going through into this next chapter in my life that won't really come to another point of view until next October next year. Obviously things take time, gestation. You can't mess with the natural order of the universe. There is such thing as overnight success. It does happen. It will look like it's overnight, but nobody ever sees what goes on in the background. People just appear from nowhere, and they don't see the spaghetti junction that went on to get to that point. So anyway, I need to get some new peers, because I can't talk to the people around here about it, because it's pissing them off and upsetting them, because I actually told them all today that we're the parasites of society, and they accepted that that was the truth, and it didn't go down well. So anyway, on that note, I shall contact you later, and I'm just seeing some comments there. I'll catch up in a minute, guys. I'll catch up once I've got all my storage stuff together, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye.